Well, I'm going to start off my message, and I'm going to offend probably about half of you. So I'm just going to give you that warning. It probably, what I'm going to say, is going to upset a lot of people. You might be offended, and I know you're not supposed to do that in this day and age. You're not supposed to offend people. You're not supposed to make people feel uncomfortable. You're not supposed to do anything. People are supposed to feel safe. They're not supposed to feel like you somehow violated them and their feelings, but I'm going to do it anyway. So here we go. Quite possibly, the absolute, positively worst thing to ever come out of the 1980s was Madonna. See, I hear the gasps in the congregation. I've offended someone, but she's absolutely the worst thing to come out of her. I mean, besides her music just being awful, the thing that drives me nuts about Madonna is that she changes persona. She's changed personas throughout her career. She's dressed as a Material Girl, she's been a punk rocker, a country star, a grunge singer. Every time this woman puts out a new album, she reinvents herself. I mean, pick a lane, lady, and stay with who you are. You have so many different personas. Now I know, for those of you that are offended, I know exactly what you're saying to yourself as I say this about Madonna. You're saying to yourself, oh come on, Padre, don't preach. Don't preach that sermon. Some of you got what I just did there. But seriously, I mean, how many times is that woman going to come up with a new identity? My friends, I used to drive my friends absolutely crazy because we'd be driving in the car, it didn't matter if it was my car or their car, and a Madonna song would come on the radio and it would immediately get cut off. I had a girlfriend in high school whose favorite singer was Madonna. And for Valentine's Day, when she said, I made you a love song CD, she thought it would be funny to put all of Madonna's love songs on a CD. She popped it in my player, and as soon as this first song came on, I popped it out and threw it out the window. And she just drives me crazy. When my friends would ask me, what is it about her? I never gave a satisfactory answer to them. But now that I'm older, I think I kind of understand why Madonna used to drive me crazy growing up, and she still kind of does today. You see, one of the most important things for me growing up and to this day is that I surround myself with people who are authentically who they are, who make no apologies for who they are, what they believe, where they come from, and everything. I want to be around people who are okay with not being okay from time to time in their lives. Because I know if I can surround myself with those kind of people, they will be okay with me not being okay from time to time in my life. I like people that are genuine. So this week we wrap up our sermon series, Being the You God Created You to Be. Sorry, I wrote it down differently in my sermon. I want to make sure I say the right one. Being the You God Created You to Be. And today's message is entitled, The Indomitable You. Now, I don't really mean to pick on Madonna. And I'm sure that by saying that, I have crossed some sort of borderline with some of you. But in actuality, all of us, in one way or another, try to create an image of ourselves that we want others to see. We all have, in one way or another, at some point in our life, reinvented who we are. We try to create an image of ourselves that projects maybe perfection, or wealth, or whatever, that you have all of the things that you could ever really want. I know that that was the case in my family growing up. I can still hear my mom saying, now remember kids, don't do anything to embarrass your father. Translation, please give out the image that we're the perfect family. Don't do anything to mess that up. And today, with social media, we can absolutely craft the perfect image that we want others to see. We can Photoshop out things about ourselves, our physical appearance, that we don't like. You know, remove a wrinkle here or a mole there, or lighten our hair. We can even change the color of our eyes if we really want to do it. We can make ourselves look like a movie star because we're living in a material world, aren't we? And we think those are the kind of things that impress. We think people will be impressed if we can prove to them that we're up with the latest fashions or we drive the coolest car. But you know the one thing that we can't change? No matter how hard we try, no matter how many times we try to reinvent ourselves, the one thing we can't change is who we're created to be. We can change our image, but we can't change who we were created to be. We can put out this image that we want everybody to believe, but you and I know that nobody knows us in our entirety. We can't change the truth of who we are, the real us, our true identity. God is the only one who knows all of you, even the things you try so hard to hide from others. And God loves you in your entirety. So I've been taking classes for a while, for the past year, to become a marriage and family therapist. I want to add this to my repertoire to better serve in my ministry. And so for the past year, I've been doing a lot of studying of what makes people tick. What makes people do the things that they do? Why do people react to stress in certain ways? Why are some couples more prone to fighting? I've been studying all of it. Studying what makes people do the things they do and what turns people, or what gives people, what makes people act the way they act. And we do a lot of studying of how the past has shaped a person. Now, when I was a young Christian, I always used to get nervous when the preacher would talk about the past. Would challenge us to think about who we are and then tell us to look back at our past. It used to make me nervous because when I'm asked to look back at my past, I don't know about you, but when I think of the things that I've done in the past, I always tend to go to the negative. Well, I did this wrong, and I did this wrong, and I shouldn't have done that, and I should have done this, and I should have done this, and I come up with all of the things that are negative in my head. And whether I like it or not, my past has shaped me into the person that I am today. And so has yours. Your past has shaped you into the person that you are sitting there, right there today. All of your experiences from your past, the good, the bad, and the ugly, have made up who you are in this moment. But just because our past has shaped us, it doesn't mean that it defines us. And that's the thing that I have a hard time remembering. That's the thing that I need to remind myself of. That while my past may have shaped me into the person that I am, it does not define me. Imagine if King David, the author of today's psalm, had allowed his past to define who he was. I mean, up to the point of this writing of Psalm 139, David had lived quite a life up to this point. He was born into a family, he was the run. People didn't think much of him. His own family didn't even think much of him. But as a young child, he was anointed to be king. He killed the giant Goliath, and after that he fell into favor with Saul, only to fall out of favor with him. And when he finally became king, he would go on to become a great and powerful ruler. King David was so powerful that he thought he could do anything and have anybody that he wanted, including a woman named Bathsheba. And upon getting her pregnant, he went out and he had her husband killed in battle so that he could cover his own tracks. David thought he could do anything. David had quite a past. And if he had found his identity in his past, he could have had all sorts of titles for himself beyond king. Ruler, king, philanderer, murderer, shepherd. All of these things could have defined, David could have used those terms to define who he was. But as we heard in Psalm 139, David knew what defined him, and it wasn't what he'd done. But what defined him was who had created him. Listen again to the words of David. For it was you who formed my inward parts. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works that I know very well. David was the most powerful man in the land. David had servants who had servants. He could have anything that he wanted. It would have been really easy to let that kind of power go to his head. It would have been really easy for David to lose sight of who created him and who he could find his identity in. And he did mess up from time to time. But as we hear from these words from Psalm 139, it's a man who knows that he is first and foremost a creation of God. That no matter what happened to him, no matter what he did, and regardless of being the king, he is still created, perfectly knitted together by God, by a God who loves him. So the indomitable you, what do you think of when you hear that word, the indomitable you? Now, if you're like me, you just need to double check the definition of indomitable, make sure that you know exactly where it's coming from. And it simply means impossible to subdue or to defeat. So what is that about you? What is that thing about you that is impossible to subdue or defeat? Is it your intellect, your confidence, maybe your faith? I don't know. Your faith can be rocked. You can have something happen to you in your life that you don't see coming, and your faith can be shaken to its core. Your confidence, you may be the most confident person in the world, but if the right person says the wrong thing to you, it can destroy your confidence. And of course, your intellect, there's always a smarter person in the room. It seems to me that all of those things can be shaken in one way or another. So what's the one thing that can't be changed, no matter what people say to you, and no matter what you say about yourself? This past Wednesday, we had our final confirmation class of the year. Now, usually on the last day of confirmation, I like to do a year-end review. I just want to make sure that the kids retain what it was that we were talking about for the past 9 months. And so usually in the past, I've given them questions, and we've talked a little bit about the lessons. This year we talked about Lutheran theology, so we would give them a question about who Luther was and what he believed. But instead I decided to try something just a little bit different this year. I asked them this simple question to start out confirmation this past Wednesday. How has your faith changed this past year? Because I tell them every year at the beginning of confirmation, guys, welcome to confirmation. We're not talking about Sunday school Jesus anymore. We're talking about real life Jesus. We're talking about life. We're talking about how your faith can matter in your life. We're talking about how you can use your belief in God and how you can use your theology in God to go out into this world. We talk about tough stuff in confirmation. And I wish I would have recorded the answers that I got. You would have been very proud of our confirmation kids. They have some amazing insight into our faith. They're more tolerant, they're more loving, they get it. They really get it. I was so proud of it. But one of the answers that was given was my absolute favorite. And it was my favorite because it was so simplistic, and yet I think it captures the definition of the indomitable self. This student raised her hand, which is amazing because she never raises her hand. She usually blurts out the answer. And she said, Pastor Mike, this past year, the biggest thing that I've learned was that I was created by God and I can be myself. I don't have to be fake, much like the answer that Kay gave. I was created by God and I can be myself. You know, I went to college for 4 years and got my degree in religion. I went to seminary for 6 years. I did 2 hospital internships, served as a pastoral intern. I learned Greek and Hebrew, took classes on how to preach, and taught constantly and debated theology in seminary. But that was one of the most insightful answers about someone's true identity that I've ever heard. I mean, we do tell our kids all the time, just be yourself. But what made that answer, at least to me, so powerful is the recognition that because she's a child of God, she can be herself. She can be herself not because of what her friends say, and not because of the image that she wants to put out there, but she can be herself because she realizes that she is a child of God, and she realizes that she is loved by God. Friends, take a page from the theology of one of our confirmation students. You are created by God, and because of that, you can be who God created you to be. Your true self is your indomitable self, and that can't be destroyed or defeated. You are a creation of God, and nothing can take that away from you. No matter where you go, no matter what you do, no matter what people say to you, no matter how others define you or you define yourself, it can never be taken away that God created you. Regardless of how long it's been since you've talked to God, no matter how many times you've fallen from grace, there is not a single thing you can do in this life to change the fact that you were perfectly knit together by God. You are God's creation. While your past may have shaped you, it does not define you. Because God loves you not based on your performance, but on your position as His child. And so I want to end my sermon just a little bit, in a little bit unusual way. I want to ask Carol to put the psalm back up on the screen. And I'm going to ask you to read it with me, but not read it as if you're reading David's words, but say it as if it's your own words. Listen to the words of this psalm and just how beautifully it's written. Remember, you are created by God. So please read this with me. For it was you who formed my inward parts. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works, that I know very well. My frame was not hidden from you, nor was he made in secret, intricately woven in the depths of the earth. Your eyes beheld my unformed substance. In your book were written all the days that were formed for me, when none of them has yet existed. You're created by God. It's not what you've done, it's not what you're going to do, it's not where you've been, it's not where you're going, it is who has created you. And nobody can take that away from you. Amen. And may the peace of the Lord be with you always. Please share that peace with one another.